Welcome to the DWO Election Hub. I'm Edward Moore, and you are, well, you. Election night must surely qualify as one of the most fascinating and unpredictable political nights in history. From Kress catastrophes to freak cake accidents, we've seen it all recently, and I'm sure tonight will be no different.
With an exciting night ahead of us, all the latest results will come to us to be analyzed by our state-of-the-art equipment. Our team will reveal whether Niles Kress will return triumphant and continue being mayor, whether Ebenezer Scrooge will succeed from driving him from number 10, or whether the Lazy Party will surpass all odds, despite their notable absence from the campaign, and become the new mayor of London. Sonny has taken up residence in his virtual world to explain it all.
Hi, I'm Sonny, and welcome to my virtual world, or, as I'm supposed to call it, the Matrix, our virtual political polygon playground. Here, reality can be whatever I want it to be, except I'm contractually forbidden to use this for anything other than approved digital political exploration. I've been told DWO has spent around 10,000 credits on this brand new system, so new, in fact, that we only just finished setting it up. It's potentially a little bit damaged as the delivery driver threw it over the fence, and the instructions were unfortunately written in Villager. But luckily I have been able to find the remote control and some batteries, so all's well. Back to you, Edward.
Sonny, I'd rather hopefully you're going to inform us of the current situation concerning the polls. Who's emerging as the surefire winner? Who's out?
Unfortunately, Edward, it would seem that all I have so far is a broken autocue. Though, I must admit, I've never exactly stuck to it anyway. I'm sure it'll be fine. So as we all know, the literal demographics are currently in power and have been for, well, seemingly forever. Our political analysts inform us that this was due to their rather ingenious plan of being the only political party in existence at the time. Yet, as much as I wish we were, we're no longer in 2012. So will they hold on to this 100% election result? I doubt it, to be honest.
We've seen that the other parties are truly out of the running. This really is a contest between two political heavyweights and one who is still in bed. Polly Ticks, our resident know-it-all, will be here a little bit later to detail what happened as she caught up with a selection of voters. Sonny, but now thank you. Keep us posted.
The remaining party leaders, that is, the ones who are running and who haven't succumbed to cake or other tragic circumstances, voted earlier today. In just a few moments, the ballot boxes will be rushed to the counting centres. We have a stellar cast at the key places. East London is tipped to win the race to declare first, and Stuart Cook is there.
I'm in East London, where, with the help of these sixth formers, and many more like them from two local schools, they hope to bring the first results of the night. They've done that for the last few elections, and they hope to do it again this evening. And what's more, is they want to bring the first result earlier in the evening than they ever have before. They're aiming for 10 p.m. Let's see if they can do it.
Back here in the studio, up there above us, is Boris Newsman with a bird's eye view of the political scene. He's going to be joined by politicians throughout the night to discover the who's, the what's, and the why's, and what kind of government is likely to result from a dramatic vote.
Thanks, Edward. Tonight I'll hopefully be joined by the likes of Andrea Walker and Brian Reynolds, two, some say, casualties of the election process. For legal reasons, Mr. Dave Ross is unable to confirm if he'll attend, probably as he's still in a prison cell as we speak. Doris Thompson is still in hospital, but we may hear from her team later in the programme. For now, it's back to you in the same studio, Edward.
We've received a wealth of responses from you at home, and be assured we will be using state-of-the-art technology to relay those here throughout the programme. Expect an electrifying evening coming your way. I think we better get started.
First on tonight's programme, we'd like to go to Sonny to give us a high-level view of the voting landscape tonight. While famous as a weatherman, from working with Sonny on DWO News, I can confirm he has talents in many different areas. So, Sonny, over to you in the Matrix.
Yes, so, as you can see, coming down the road towards our digitally enhanced recreation of Downing Street now are the current forecasted results of the polls. In fact, true to their name, the Lazy Party are still stuck around the corner. Who's going to reach number 10? It's all still to play. What? Yes, I know we're not in Downing Street. It's a green screen, Kevin. I'm not actually there. Hills? No, I didn't do that. Wait. Hang on. Wow! Downing Street has a bigger garden than I thought. This almost seems familiar for some reason.
Right, well, yes, as I said, a man of many talents.
While we wait for the results to come in, I believe we can go to a report from James Thorpe, our roving reporter. This report may contain cute images of dogs. You have been warned.
Not a normal school day. While the students of Coal Hill Academy enjoyed their warm Saturday, the volunteer teachers organising the vote counting were certainly not in great spirits. The atmosphere around the academy was still, by all accounts, tense and testing. I have been trying to vote all day. I tried 3 times, but what do you know, my name apparently wasn't on the list. A right scandal. First they take away the trains, and now they take away my vote. Disgraceful. It turns out I had sent in a postal vote, but they couldn't retract it because Kress stopped the mail services. Typical. I'll be writing to my MP. Who is it again? While it's proved a testing day for the parties, spare a thought for the dogs of London. Their owners may have made an important political decision today, but all around London we've seen, dare I say, cute canines stood waiting patiently as the future of our city is decided. The heat only added to the discomfort. Despite the mishaps, Coal Hill has seen a successful turnout of 95.65%. The question is, have these voters turned out for Kress, Scrooge, or for the Lazy Party? Will Kress's legacy of scandal have struck a nerve? Has anyone planted a tree for the Eco Party? Will anyone else around me get to vote at all on account of the consequences of Wesley the dog's poor bladder? Time, as it always does, will tell.
I think it's time to introduce my panel for the evening. Fresh from a political drama of the week, we have Brian Reynolds, leader of the Fun Party, and Andrea Walker, leader of the Eco Party. Welcome to you both.
Wahey!
Right, and Andrea, you accepted our request to appear here at the last minute. Does this mean you're conceding?
No, not at all. I just want to grow my support and defend my position. Participating in the DWO show taught me that it's good to get your position straight, and, frankly, I could do with an opportunity to voice my opinion.
Well, it's great to have you here. From interviewing guests over the last few years of DWO News, I can say that you two are two of the most engaging I've had the fortune to interview. Sonny, could we get an update on the literal demographics, please?
Now, I think it would be really interesting to have a look at the areas that appear to have retained particularly strong support in favour of Niles Kress's literal demographics. Of course, as we can see here, Niles Kress's support in his home borough of Southwark hasn't faded. Kevin, what's happening to my arm? What do you mean you don't know? This is my arm we're talking about. I kind of need it. Oh no. My legs are going too. Can somebody please check I didn't go back in time and accidentally erase my own history?
Well, thanks for that, Sonny. We'll check in again a little later on.
And I'm joined by Polly Tix, our chief political analyst, in the studio. Welcome, Polly. Lovely as always to have you here.
Thank you.
So, you've been out on the ground today along with James, assessing the situation, speaking to voters and gathering some degree of understanding of the current climate. What can you say is next for London? Whoever our next mayor is, what do you and the people expect they will do once in office?
Well, there's not much that can be known for sure, but I can see that the budget for London could possibly see a drastic change considering the gradual financial slump London has entered during the Kress premiership. 2017 was marked by some economists as the beginning of the Great Slump. With the introduction of Stratford, Mr. Kress intended to increase morale for London, with this refurbished area highlighting the prospects for economic growth. What people didn't realise is that the destruction of the Tower of London later that year cost more than planned, with violent protests against its destruction and the hashtag #BringBackTheTower trending on Twitter.
And can you explain to us how exactly that lost London funds?
Well, the sudden murder of the man who brought the land for one, Niles Kress destroyed the tower under a contract with Mr. Rand that entitled the city to a portion of the casino's profits to pay back the loan. When Rand died and the casino was closed down, London got nothing, not to mention having to foot the bill when the abandoned casino was eventually torn down.
Let's just take a look at the archive footage from that sad day. Shocking footage from 2017 there. Now, what political effects did the tower protests have on London?
These protests, some say the result of gross political incompetence, led to the inevitable budget cuts. The emergency services were understaffed, and according to a 2019 survey carried out for the Bucket Emergency Trust, response times were often not in minutes, but in weeks. Many crimes remain unsolved.
Of course, as you mentioned, this surrounded the infamous Rand murder, in which Kress himself was a suspect.
Considering that Victor Rand had demolished a national landmark that will not be returning anytime soon. The casino proved highly unpopular in the public eye. Many members of the public spoke out against Kress to destroy this casino.
Let's look back at what Kress himself said to explain his actions at the time.
This is a good move for London. More jobs, more opportunities, and more money. Better economy for our city, yeah. We have worked hard to ensure the staff from the tower are accommodated well, and we will continue to accommodate for the young, for the old, and the shape-shifting aliens in our future endeavors.
In that speech, Kress mentioned sustaining a better economy for the city. However, if his interest had been purely in sustaining the good economy we already had, we may not have ultimately witnessed the destruction of the now beloved Tower of London, which was destroyed to allow the casino. So, he claimed, stabilized the city's financial issues.
Obviously it didn't, with the reveal of the murder.
On screen here we have an image of Kress, filed as suspect, obtained from a leak which really hasn't been plugged. Quite damning, and surely one of those many seeds of his political downfall. And then came the truth that was gambling taxes.
How exactly did that impact London?
Taxes weren't paid, so an investigation was held to see if Kress had a gambling problem. Eventually it met with the loss of billions of pounds, with the public destroying the casino themselves. It has been compared to something of a watershed moment. Kress faced continuous pressure following this revelation, and aside from a few extra contacts from this construction across London, his political activity and public appearances decreased. One anonymous aide told me that Kress continuously refused to come down for his dinner, and at one point could be heard listening to his early political speeches for up to 8 hours a day on demand. Kress lost favour with the public, culminating in the infamous anti-Christmas saga.
I think everyone is aware of that.
The event led to what could be the downfall of Kress. Christmas is a time for celebrations, and with Kress's removal of the decorations, he perhaps contributed to the ultimate ascension of Mr. Scrooge. Whether the mayor will admit his role in the political coronation of his rival will become clear over the next few hours.
Polly, thank you. We'll be back with you a little bit later. Okay, now it's time to go to James Thorpe for the second time this evening. He's currently on the ground outside a key hotbed of political activity. Let's find out where. James?
And you see, that way, they let you get away with it. Oh, we're on. I'm standing here today, just opposite the home of our current and possible ex-mayor of London's house, where I've just had a nice pizza. Right, yes. Crowds have gathered here tonight to both offer support and to heckle the current mayor of London, Niles Kress. Sadly, we can't get a decent view of his house, as we had very little time to prepare a decent shot, although I think if we can go to Jeff's drone, we will be able to see a view over the crowd. At the moment, I can't make out any signs of activity inside the Kress household. If we had some form of night vision camera inside the drone, then I'm sure we'd be able to see inside. However, we might be breaking several broadcasting rules in the process. But yes, as you can see, not a lot going on at this moment in time. back to you in the studio. I don't know, I'm having all sorts of problems with my talk back. Jeff, have you got this on the right channel? Because all throughout that I was hearing some weird music. Were we even on? I know the camera light was on. Oh well. Suppose I've got some time to practice my promotional script. Farmer Tins Peas. The best intake. No, that sounds terrible. Oh wait, hang on, we're still on.
As always, thank you, James. Now, let's check back in with Sunny over in the Matrix.
Okay, I'm back now. Please, don't try that one at home. Now let's take a look at the DWO swingometer. This will show us, I think, how swingers are voting. Would you mean that doesn't sound right, Kevin? Anyway, let's give it a swing. Oh. That wasn't supposed to happen. Can somebody go get that?
Sonny, thank you. As we all know, Doris Thompson, leader of the Conservatories, tragically lost her appetite as a live accident on Good Morning DWO this week rendered her political career a non-starter. We have, however, received a video sent in to us from hospital from Doris to let us know how she's feeling.
Sorry folks, it seems Doris sent us the wrong video. Nevertheless, I'm sure it's how she wanted to be represented on our panel tonight. Let's try one last time to visit Sunny in the Matrix, where I'm assured that the technology is now up and running. Sunny?
So, here we are, At long last, this is it. The final forecast. Will things ever be the same again? On the count of 3, Kevin. 1, 2, 3. This is it. Not again. Kevin, can you fix this? Yes. Thank you. Okay. One last time. Here we go.
We apologise for those technical issues there, but my editor has just explained that Sunny's Matrix studio is being powered off momentarily, so we shouldn't see any more power fluctuations. We're going to cut to a short intermission while we work on resolving these issues, and when we're back, we'll hopefully have the all-important final results.
London is a dirty old town. Guys like me are the ones who clean up the scum of this city.
Is he dead?
Yes, he's dead. Do you mind? This is my office. If it weren't for me, crits like you would be running the city. Because I'm Inspector Wall.
I'm sitting here today to tell you all about my little talk show. That's right, Talk with Thorpe, the only chat show in town. Join me, James Thorpe, as I interview the great and the good at what they do. Don't forget, that's Talk with Thorpe, Wednesdays on DWO 1.
Hello and thank you for bearing with us there. We're finally receiving some tidbits of a full result. I'm joined around me by James Thorpe, who isn't standing, but rather sitting here today, and Polly Tix. Welcome again to you both. We are just moments away from a potential political earthquake. James, how do you think it's gonna go?
Well, Edward, I'm only certain that when the news breaks, I'll be there to cover it and hopefully interview the winner on my hit TV programme Talk with Thorpe, Wednesdays on DWO 1.
Insightful as ever. For viewers just joining us, we're about to receive the official 2019 Mayoral Election results. We're just waiting for confirmation from the independent adjudicator.
If opinion polls are anything to be believed, then we could be left with a tie or a narrow victory for either side. Whatever happens, the winner will no doubt have to pick up the political pieces and reunite our city. Each candidate has received a unique flavour of support, and really, that commitment isn't likely to dissipate in a few moments' time, regardless of who wins.
Okay, we're just hearing now that the preliminary result has been announced. Bear in mind, this is purely an advance count and may change as the adjudicators carry out any final cross-checking. It seems we can say that after a week of intense political debate, Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge of the Independent Party is our new London Mayor by a landslide, with over 80% of the vote. The Liberal Democrats and Conservatives have roughly split the final 20%, with the Lazy Party receiving just 2 votes. I must remind you that these are unconfirmed as of yet, but are likely to be close to the final counts. We are awaiting a statement of confirmation, as mentioned, from the Independent Election Regulator, but we've been placed on hold. We will be attempting to go live to Mr. Scrooge's team should we get that confirmation. Throughout this campaign he has shown a dignified edge that has undermined Kress's slightly erratic policies and character. James, you've been on the ground with Scrooge. What will he be thinking right now?
Mr. Scrooge has changed personalities quicker than I can eat a tasty sausage roll. He's truly changed from a miserable figure to one who the public now like and respect. I'm sure he'll be waiting to work up the crowd he will greet in just a few moments' time.
All we can do now, I'm afraid, is wait. With that in mind, Boris, what have our panel up there got to say about what's seeming like the likely outcome of tonight?
Andrea, you've got to grips with the voting system in your campaign. Do you think if your widely dismissed 3 votes system was implemented across the board, then Mr. Scrooge would not have received such a high percentage of the votes?
This isn't the time for party political point scoring, but the fact is this outcome has demonstrated there is a clear bias in the campaigning and voting systems. We need more progressive ways to vote that will allow our people to express themselves. We need to fix the problems at the roots of our political system. If Kress is able to put up near propaganda posters across the capital while my party has struggled...
Yes, but surely you yourself have withdrawn from the race. Kress and Scrooge are the frontrunners because the 3 of you were unable to create credible campaigns and platforms. This clear-cut victory may have been prevented if you had continued to the end.
Come on, Boris. Carrying on would have been boring. Now we've got some juicy drama I can use in one of my vlogs.
No, thank you. Thanks again everyone up there, but after suffering through the whole music, we've received some confirmation. We will now go live to number 10 at Downing Street, where we're being told a special handover event will take place between Kress and Mr. Scrooge. James, how quickly can you run?
It seems James Thorpe has indeed gotten to the scene already. How he does that will remain a mystery. Polly, do you have any idea what the winner and loser will be doing in the next few hours?
Edward, the only time this has ever happened in politics was, well, never. This is, as I've said, completely unprecedented, and unbelievably means matters will literally be made up as we, or rather they, go along. We've never had a handover event before with Kress as our first mayor. Your guess is as good as mine as to what will be confirmed outside the infamous door, but we now know one will leave the mayoral office while another will take up the mantle.
Okay, I am being told that James has quite literally skedaddled over to the scene and is currently positioned outside the door of number 10.
I'm standing here tonight outside the official office of the brand new mayor, Mr. Scrooge. We've been told that we will be receiving another statement in just a few moments, which gives me just the right amount of time to catch my breath.
Good evening, all. Thank you for staying up well past the call of duty to await these all-important election results. As press officer for the Liberal Democrats, I have been tasked with confirming a short, imminent statement by the incumbent Niles Kress, who is just having his hair straightened right about now. I am well aware that we are live on, only DWO1. Well, that makes my life a lot easier. I suppose you should be receiving an encrypted file, which will prove of deep interest to your viewers and to the city itself. In just a few moments, Mr. Kress will reappear to comment. Please remain patient. Thank you.
I don't believe it. It seems Noel's Kress isn't out of the door and out of politics yet, as shockingly he will make his own statement before the new mayor, Mr. Scrooge, appears to deliver his first speech.
James, the press officer spoke of a file currently in cyberspatial transit. When we know more, we'll let our viewers know. But for now, can you see anything inside the home?
Edward, the crowd here is restless, and unfortunately my eardrums are still recovering from the recent Camshire concert, so I will be difficult, but...
Hello, everyone. I bet you didn't expect to see me again, but here I am. You might be expecting Mr. Scrooge to appear in front of you with his fancy fonts and his expensive suits. Well, as leader of the literal demographs and your ever-faithful public servant, I think it is vital to inform you of a shocking development my team has uncovered within the last few minutes. If you remember, a disturbing and tragic scene at the Powell estate last week resulted in my calling this election. Well, just as I suspected, I would have got away with the demolition and saved our finance if it weren't for none other than meddling Mr. Scrooge himself. The footage we have sent to the media clearly demonstrates it was our trustworthy friend Scrooge who started the fire at the stadium, endangering you all and worsening the effects of the damage to the Powell estate, all to make me, Niles Kress, look bad with gross fortune, builders to remain silent, and in the process threaten the health of our great city, as well as the health of my great political career. Lucky for you all, I, Miles Kress, have saved the day once again. For you, my quick, responsive action that has prevented the cult of Scrooge from infecting this esteemed office. Now that I am once again your mayor, I promise to follow through on my promises. I promise to enjoy myself. Crucially, promise to spend as much money as possible to create a booming economy. I will be meeting you all in meet and greets across the city and will hopefully enjoy your continued support. Hashtag love Kress. I'm off to punish this rapscallion and ensure he cannot ruin summer as well as Christmas. If you see him, give me a shout.
Edward, the crowd is clearly very unhappy.
James? James? We've lost James Thorpe there in the midst of what looked like another riot outside number 10, the official office of the now confirmed mayor, Niles Kress. I am, quite frankly, lost for words. Polly, do you have anything to add?
Frankly, Edward, your guess of what happens next is as good as mine. Well, Kress may technically be mayor. For how long is certainly the next crucial question. If the hashtag Vote Kress bandwagon has, well and truly collapsed, how can he be expected to pass the crucial financial legislation he so desperately needs? Will the Scrooge fans simply melt away?
Boris, what have our former election candidates got to say about the demise of Mr. Scrooge?
Well, panel, you heard Edward. Brian, what have you got to say about these shocking developments?
No. Sorry, Boris, but I have something to say.
Andrea, we will get to you in time. Just please wait your turn.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not staying silent. I cannot stand by while this deadwood mayor sits in his office admiring himself for another 7 years. I was hopeful that Mr. Scrooge would enter office, after me of course, and provide some growth and stability to our great city. But if Kress can produce some damning evidence, then so can I. If this election has taught me anything, it's that our citizens are committed to an eco-future. Through their work in clearing out the rubbish polluting our Thames, one of my campaign advisors recovered these documents. Kress has not only fleeced our parks and homes, but our rivers. He's been polluting our rivers for years with lunch order receipts, drawings, which are really bad by the way, and love letters. But most importantly, this document shows that Niles Kress, 7 years ago, illegally took power without an official election or confirmation by we, the people. Nobody even sanctioned his office. He wasn't even an MP or registered politician. Even the Lazy Party is an official party. Despite red crayon marking this document to be flushed, here it is for all to see.
If you're right, Andrea, then by law he cannot be an official candidate for the election. He cannot be the mayor.
But that means... Oh no! It can't be!
By process of elimination, the only party remaining in the race that have received any votes whatsoever is the Lazy Party. Frankly, I have no clue what happens next. We have yet to actually hear anything from the Lazy Party candidate. Will they finally show up? Yes, okay, James Thorpe is safe and you'll be glad to know on top of a building nearby. Again, James, are you receiving us?
Edward, the news is spreading like wildfire down here. There's quite a commotion inside as Niles Kress is surely watching his TV with bated breath. We are getting word that the Lazy Party, yes, you heard it right, are now the de facto winners of this election, with the Eco, Fun, SDIP and Conservatory parties out of the running. It seems the Lazy Party are now the legitimate party with the most votes. But with their campaign so vague, it remains to be seen who or what is their leader and our new mayor.
James, if it is safe to do so, can you please see if you can see?
Edward, it is very difficult to make out anything. The door is shut, the curtains are drawn, and frankly, nothing is getting in or out. All I can see is a very confused crowd and a very shaky camera and accompanying camera person. The Lazy Party are apparently sending their leader to number 10 now. We'll know more immediately, and not a moment too soon. I'm getting pins and needles.
James, have you any updates on the whereabouts of Mr. Scrooge? Had the police arrived at his home to arrest him?
Mr. Jago and Lightfoot have spoken to us, and they are apparently on their way to apprehend the criminal Scrooge. Whether Mr. Kress's team have detained Mr. Scrooge successfully in the meantime remains to be seen, but reports in my earhole suggest nobody can locate the now nefarious would-be mayor. Whether he will answer to the law is a story for another day. Right now, the focus is very much on Mr. Kress's dramatic demise and the mystery mayor.
We will of course update viewers on the whereabouts of Mr. Scrooge and encourage anyone with information to inform the police. James, has there been any sign of the Lazy Party yet? Surely, if anything will spur them into action, it's winning the election?
Edward, there seems to be some kind of figure emerging at the end of the street. I can't quite make it out, but it looks like a car has arrived. This is our new mayor.